Bitcoin and the trade I took today. So I want to go over a little bit of context, talk about why I was interested in taking the trade, and how I chose target and how I got entry into the market. So to start, let's talk about context a little bit here. So you can see the last several weeks we've had a big move to the downside. We've had a big drop in prices. And prices come back to this cluster, and it's a pattern that I look at. I kind of call it's a sweep, a sweep and then break of structure, really. And it's one of these things where you get kind of a low gets formed, and then it gets taken out, with like a swing fail, and then price breaks above the high. So this is an area when I typically see this pattern. It's an area that you could, expect prices to kind of, respect to some extent. It's not meaning that this is going to be the bottom and prices are going to go up. This could just give you a little bit of a bounce. So what I'm trying to do here is just kind of give you guys context of why I wasn't necessarily favoring wanting to take short trades, at this point in time, and I think there's more reason to look for, say, a bounce opportunity. So prices come back into this origin candle, and you can see the last couple of weeks have been respecting it. You get a stab down and into the origin, and then buyers step in and buy this right back up, and it's just leaving wicks. So, when I see that, to me, I'm looking at saying, okay, there's buyers at this area, and we've already had a significant move to the downside. I think it's reasonable to expect at least a little bounce, especially from this sort of an area. So there's kind of the context of, what I was looking at from, say, a really higher time frame perspective, but this doesn't give you anything actionable. This isn't enough for me to actually go take a trade off of. So I still need to kind of look for, say, a daily bias or really something strong on the hourly to actually get me involved in this trade. But this is just setting that foundation. When we move to the daily chart, the things that I'm taking note of here is the higher lows, right? So price kind of comes down and then moves away. Price comes back down and then trades up. But we're getting higher lows here, okay? And then this week, we got a bullish engulfing candle. So that, to me, coupled with kind of, the weekly context, plus the dailies here seeing these are higher lows, I'm now looking and saying, I really do think there's a case to be made for a long trade here. So the daily bias, it's just like any other pair that I would trade. When I see a daily bias, I'm naturally going to look for an entry into the market. So I see a daily bias here, and I'm going to look for something around this region, somewhere's around these highs here, give or take. All right, this is a reasonable place to assume that there is going to be some resistance found or a reasonable target, because I don't want to try to run things too much. So I'm just wanting to get involved a little bit if I can. So that's one area that I'd be looking at, again, with the context of we're hunting for a long trade and you have a target area identified. So you can see what I'll do is I'll move that black line because I just wanted to show you that that's a daily level, and I already had that marked. So what I'm looking here for is an hourly entry into the market. I want to be able to have risk kind of nice and tight, with, again, all of the factors that I've just kind of described behind me. So early in the week, you saw price dropped in, took out a big swing point here, gave a sweep, and then price went on a rager. Comes back, starts kind of trading sideways again. And then today, price had taken out the previous day's low. So what I'm really doing here is I'm identifying where the break in structure is, and for me, it's always the candle that caused the low. So you can see here, this is the high that caused the swing failure. So I'm just looking for price to break above that. When it does, I'm going to look to get into the market. And again, the reason I'm looking at this is because of all of the stuff that's laying the foundation to get to this point. The weekly context, the daily bias, all of those things. So really today, like you saw in my post, I was just looking for an hourly close above that level. So as soon as we got the hourly candle close above that market structure break, I put a limit order right at the black. I had it ready to go, and that's all it was. And it was simply just a matter of putting my risk below the sweep, and target was identified from the daily time frame. And price, a couple hours, and price gets there. 3.3 hour trade. So that's why I took this trade. Gives you guys kind of the weekly context.